Hey, Darren, Mario.
Mario, thanks for calling there. Aside from the world blowing up right now, how is everything by you?
Good, and it's an interesting thing. It actually all ties in what's happening in the world. If you look at the movie, I play, a hostage negotiator in a very intense time where there's people that feel disenfranchised who are taking to violence, and there's some cops on the other side who, some good and maybe some a little too hyped up, let's say. And I've got to get them to disarm and sort of back off from what could be a very explosive situation. So it's an interesting time to play that character, and I'm happy to address that. So all is good, man. We can talk about whatever you want, whenever you want.
Sounds like a plan to me. And you never know with a movie when it was actually made with relation to when it came out. When did you wrap on a clear shot?
When was Clear Shot made? Yeah, I guess last year.
Got it. And how long was it from being offered the movie to shooting it? Because again, sometimes you see a movie comes out 3, 4 years after it was, conceptualized.
Yeah, I had met I had met Nick, and he just seemed like he had a good heart, and he was willing to take on some interesting material. He's a new filmmaker, and he, he sort of talked to me about it, and then as it got closer to being realized, he called me up, and I said, "Let's do it." I'm always excited to just act because I don't have to do the hard work. you know? So
Sure.
I got to go off and just play this man doing very interesting situations, very interesting times. So that's what I did. So, but it was a pretty quick turnaround, I would say, from when he called me. Um, yeah.
Aside from Mandela, had you worked with anyone on this film before on another project?
Justin Nesbitt and I had done a film called Armed, which was about, I played a man who used to be in the military, who had some mental issues and had way too many guns. So they say nothing stops a bad guy with a gun like a good guy with a gun. Well, I was a good guy, a good guy, but with a lot of guns. So it's an interesting character to play. So Justin had worked with me on Armed, and he was the one that introduced me to Nick.
Right. People who look at your social media will see that that film is still listed in your bio as the new project. So I take it you were proud of that one as well.
Yo, Armed is a kick, man. I think you can see it now on Amazon, and that I put that together myself. I like. Here's the thing. I like doing the sort of the movie for them, whatever that is, the studio movie, the this, that. But I like making tough, sort of explosive indies that are really, entertaining but still make you think. And Armed is one of those movies, and I think A Clear Shot is going to be one of those films, especially with what we're seeing right now happening all over the country with the reactions to the Floyd situation and etc.
You just started to answer my next question, which was your career has been a very interesting mix of doing major studio things, indie things, and then kind of things which are indies with major distribution. Is that by design that you kind of go between the different circles?
It would sound really smart if I said it was by design, but I don't know that I could really orchestrate like that. I think what happens is, you know, I'm approached with different projects from all different walks, sort of different stratospheres, and so a big studio will contact me about one thing, and then in India about something else. So it winds up looking like it's orchestrated, maybe, but I'm not sure that anything really could be that orchestrated for me. So I didn't know I was going to direct Roots, and when they called me, and then I did that with Forrest Whitaker, and um, my son Mandela was in Roots, and then I didn't know that Michael Mann would call me about acting in the film Ali with Will Smith, where I would play Malcolm X. And my father had played Malcolm X. I mean, he had interviewed Malcolm X when he was in France, and then my two little girls were playing Malcolm X's daughters. And then I'd meet, Muhammad Ali himself, who said, Van Peebles, if you any smarter, I'd enjoy your company. And then he went on to talk to me about my dad, and and begin to say, look, that Ali had stood for what he believed and against the system, and said, no, I'm not going to, go shoot these yellow folks in Vietnam in the mud who never, stopped me from getting a job and never sick dogs on me, and never been a problem in my life. I'm not going to do it. I'd rather go to jail. And he said, if I can stand up against the system and they can make a movie about that now, someone's a conscientious objector, maybe you could make a film about your father who stood up against Hollywood and made made Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song back in 1971. So, and then I made it. So Ali was the one that thought about doing the movie on my dad. And then years later, I'm playing my dad and making the movie on my dad. And I mean, who could script that? That's just, that's pretty crazy. So I've had some, events in my life that continually make me go, wow, even going down to the protest the other day and seeing peaceful protesters, of all colors and all ages, out there saying enough is enough. This officer with his knee on Floyd's neck had 18 strikes against him. How many do you want to let someone have? And I've played many good police officers in my acting career, and I've gotten the honor of working with many good police officers. And trust me, they don't like to be alongside officers like that who make everybody look bad, and create this unfortunate dynamic where it's an us versus them dynamic. And so I guess the life I've gotten to experience has inspired me artistically to not just entertain people, hopefully, but make them think a little bit. So if I'm on the mic and I'm in the interview and all I'm talking about is me and what I like for lunch and what kind of car I like to drive, and or if I'm rapping and I'm talking about I've got more gold jewelry than you, that's really not interesting. If you don't have anything to say, then shut up and get off the mic, man. And I feel as an artist, as the griot, the storyteller of the tribe, say something that makes us reflect on how we can be better, that makes this something that entertains us. Yes, don't put us to sleep, but something interesting that hopefully inspires, elevates, and makes us think a little bit. Make America think again. There you go.
Yeah. Merchandising opportunity right there for a good cause. And it also blows me away. I'm not only a fan of yours, I'm a fan of your father's, and your son also has great things happening for him. You got a third generation Hollywood family happening. You could say that about the Barrymores, I believe, were third generation. The Nelsons, there's not a lot of them out there. Is that something that you're proud of?
Yeah, it's a kick. I think, my family, we're kind of like the Jacksons without the talent.
Oh, no way.
None of us sing well, and my poor daughter still thinks she can sing. She can't sing for shit. I gotta tell you. She knows I say that. I say it with love. Yeah, it is. Here's the thing. I think as a father, for me, am I proud of it? I'm proud of it because I'm proud of the work, right? If people are making films that make us think and raise consciousness and maybe make us a little better, I'm proud of that, whether they're related to me or not. And if they're not doing that, I'm not proud of it, whether they're related to me or not. So, and I remember when I first started getting the business, and my mom said, well, you get to meet me. I've got a hippie mom. My mom's like, this blonde hippie mom. I've got every flavor in my family. So my dad's black, my mom's white. I've got a gay aunt, and I've got a couple Trumpers in the family. So I got to love everybody. Politically, we don't all vote alike. We don't look alike, but it's good. You got to have a big tent. So my mother, when I first started getting into acting, she said, will you get to make meaningful films? And I said, well, Mom, probably I'll have to make a few stinkers on the way, but hopefully at some point I will. And I like to feel like if you saw Armed, if you saw Posse, if you saw Badass, if you saw New Jack City, if you saw, my movie Panther and the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, and even some of the movies I've acted in that I did not work on as a filmmaker, hopefully they're films you remember and maybe inspired some sort of thought. And that's something I'm proud of. And I think the same when I look at my dad's films, and my son is, Mandela, and my daughter Morgana. Morgana worked with me on Superstition, the series I did for Sci-Fi Netflix. I'm proud of what they're starting to do. They're starting to turn into people that I want to claim. It's not, I'll be like, I don't know who Van Peebles. It's just a coincidence if they have the same last name.
Right. Well, you just said a lot about your filmography, and I think it's a very rare kind of person that could do New Jack City and Jaws 4, and totally get it and still be working.
No, but don't see the difference is, you see, Jaws, Jaws inspired me to do New Jack. Now, why would you say that? Well, listen, because Jaws 4 was it Jaws 3 or 4? I don't remember. Maybe it was Jaws 4. It wasn't. I don't think it was the best movie in the world. And so, but I was just an actor in it. But the inspiring thing about just being an actor in a movie that's, not so great is it makes you go, man, I know I could do better than this. So it inspired me. Some of those roles inspired me to want to direct. And then when you see how hard directing is, you go, well, maybe I'll just want to act in this one. So, there's films that I've done just as an actor, like in Clear Shot. I'm just acting in it. But with this, Nick was flexible, and I was able to bring a lot of sort of color to it and a lot of sort of insight into the role, because I play a guy that's a hostage negotiator. So I can't use a weapon. I'm not in the business of shooting people. I am only armed with my intellect and with my humanity. And with that, I've got to get a situation that could be very dangerous and violent or deadly to de-escalate. And that diplomacy, the ability to not just say, let's shoot them all, or let's nuke them all, or, let's press up, my button's bigger than your button. But the ability to go in there and use diplomacy and to appeal to a commonality to get them to disarm, that's a skill set we all need, man. And it really becomes relevant today. You go, wow, that. So I got to play a character in a Clear Shot that was, interesting, and so that's what I found appealing. It wasn't the paycheck. When you do a little indie film, they pay you $5, so it's not a lot of money. Although $5 is still important to me, but that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because of the people you work with and what you get to hopefully say in the project.
And was the first thing that you directed 21 Jump Street?
No. Actually, I just was going through, because I'm writing a piece on my family and sort of the evolution of modern Black cinema through the eyes of one family. The first piece I got to direct that was union. I did a couple of independent projects first on my own. One that was terrible, and they got better each time, but you bump around with this first project. The first thing I got to direct was for Stephen Cannell, who believed in me before it was popular. And it was called Sunny Spoon. It was Sunny Spoon. It was for NBC. I had a TV series called Sunny Spoon, where I played Sunny Spoon. And he let me direct it. Him and Brandon Tartikoff let me direct one of the episodes. And then after the show eventually got canceled, it ran for a season, I think, and a half. I got to go direct 21 Jump Streets with some kid named Johnny Depp on it. And that was great. And I wound up doing a bunch of those. And then Wise Guys with Ken Wall, and then Warner Brothers had a movie called New Jack City, and they wanted a blackologist, and I guess Spike was busy, so I see this thing in historical context. I don't go, yes, they loved me from the beginning. No, man, they wanted a brother to direct it. Your ass was available. You had some experience. Clint Eastwood liked you because you were in Heartbreak Ridge, and that was also Warner Brothers. And that's probably how I got the gig. And I'm good in a room. I went in there and I talked, and and so I got the job. But I was lucky. But then, as my dad would say, luck is preparation meets opportunity. So hopefully I was prepared, and I got the opportunity.
Well, 3 quick questions, if you don't mind, because I want to be very respectful of your time here.
Okay, of Good luck with your quick questions, because I don't have quick answers. But go ahead, try it.
You always have great answers. That's what I'm learning. And the first one is, and this is a totally, totally serious question. I like the movie Rappin. Are you proud of it? Okay. Do you like it personally?
You know what? Here's the thing. I got a kick out of it. I can't say that I missed my calling as a rapper. By the way, I just directed the Salt and Pepper movie. Speaking of rapping, I directed the Salt and Pepper movie for Sony and Lifetime, and that's going to probably be out in a year. We just finished that up before the pandemic hit. But, I had fun with it, and it's got a good heart. It has a good heart. It's sort of a Disney zeitgeist look at the hood. You know what I mean? So it's sort of a very pop look at what could be in a much edgier film. But I enjoyed it. I had fun with it, and I learned a lot from doing it. And my next film after that was Heartbreak Ridge. So I learned a lot from that experience. So all these experiences have led to where I've gotten to now. But I can't say that I think it's the finest thing I've ever done. But I had a lot of fun with it.
You actually answered the next question, which was, what's the status of the Salt and Pepper movie? So it's good to know that it was all filmed before the pandemic.
Yeah. And I'm sort of, going over music stuff now and scoring and doing it all remotely. So I listen to music cues and go, yeah, a little more salt here, a little more pepper there.
I see what you did there. You've given me more content and more great answers in 15-ish minutes than most people do in 25. So I'll ask you the closer, and that's any last words for the kids?
I think the trick to this life is, for me is find what you love and see if you can make a living doing what you love. And then from there are the three loves in life. Love what you do, love and enjoy the folks you do it with, and love what you say with it. Try to say something that makes us better, that makes us think, makes us raise a little consciousness.
And also do a bunch of planks, because that looks like you're doing that and doing that well.
Hey, man, you got to do your planks, dude. Got to keep the core. And the thing is, you don't want to come out of this COVID thing looking like Mr. Potato. So, and I'm a show-off. And when I plank online, it forces me to do it a little better, maybe even a little longer than I might alone. So I know that about myself. So if I have company, positive company, then I'm better. So that we are pack animals, and that pack support, that group support, actually is a good energy for us.
Right on.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Well, next time I plank online, join me. All right.
Paltrocast.